The following program is the work of the broadcast students at the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT Magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland which were produced over the last week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, steering clear from beer, while youth drinking is trending downward.
Also, compost challenges, how Metro Vancouver is trying to tackle organic trash.
And out in the cold, why a Langley Wildlife Sanctuary could be forced to close its doors.
Hello, welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Eden Chipperfield.
And I'm Hayden Stewart. We're here at the HCMS Discovery in Stanley Park, and here are your top stories in Metro Vancouver. For many young people in BC, dry January happens every month. A growing number are saying no to beer, wine, and spirits. Reporter Nate Elmes explores the reasons behind the trend and how pubs and bars are adapting.
A culture shift is underway amongst young people where they are increasingly avoiding alcohol. At the same time, non-alcoholic beverage options are increasing in popularity.
The demand for non-alcoholic beers and cocktails is gotten to a place where it's on everybody's radar.
Matt Martin is the general manager at Strange Fellows Brewing, a local East Vancouver brewery that has been branching out to adapt to an ever-changing consumer market.
So it's been growing for a few years or maybe even more. It's just now at a point where it's gotten to a place where people are paying attention.
At the Habitat, the campus pub at BCIT, patrons are still drinking but understand why some of their peers choose not to.
But just here for school, so here for fun, but you can see why it's beneficial.
Bartenders at the Habitat told BCIT News that they have also seen a decline in youth drinking habits. Outside the pub, health benefits is one of the main reasons for youth closing the door on booze.
So I've seen some of my friends drink, wake up the next day, not remember anything. That looks kind of scary.
I previously drank in the past, but it's not for me. Just because I know the effects are not the best, and also the health effects and mental, is not good for you overall.
It's easy to not start something. It's a lot harder if you've been socialized into something and then try to change it.
I've met a lot of people who are millennial and Gen Z who grew up with parents who drank very heavily, so a lot of them have the idea of wanting to break the cycle.
Yeah, in terms of peers, I think everyone's kind of starting to drink less now than before. So I think, I keep drinking. I'm fine. If I'm gonna have a good time, I'm gonna have a good time. I know how to manage it, that type of stuff. Yeah.
While drinking culture may be shifting among youth, there will always be players looking to take a shot. Nate Elmes, BCIT News.
Here in Stanley Park, a popular stretch of the seawall between Ferguson Point and Prospect Point will be closed until Friday morning, according to the Park Board. The board says the closure is necessary so crews can repair parts of the path that were damaged from the storms last month.
For Metro Vancouver, taking out the trash has become a major challenge, especially when it comes to composting. As reporter Brayden Goodman explains, Metro Vancouver officials are exploring new ways to deal with the organic waste.
In kitchens across Metro Vancouver, food scraps are being tied up in bags labeled as compostable, then tossed into green bins with the hope they'll turn into soil. But at the region's composting facilities, those bags don't always break down the way carrot peels or coffee grounds do. Instead, many are screened out and thrown away.
They don't typically break down as fast as, say, a carrot peel, and there's a variety of types of plastics that are labeled compostable on the markets.
Metro Vancouver sends green bin material to facilities across the Lower Mainland, where it's composted or digested.
Senior Engineer of Solid Waste and Recycling, Karen Story at Metro Vancouver, says these compostable plastics create problems, especially when the bags are tied in knots, making them harder to break down.
Those knots often don't break down in the system.
When that happens, those bags are screened out before compost can be used. To prevent microplastics from ending up in the soil, the rejected material goes straight to the landfill.
The stuff that gets screened out would typically be sent to disposal.
Part of the confusion comes from certification labels, which are based on lab testing, not real-world composting conditions.
They're often tested in a lab where they have perfect conditions, the perfect size that easily breaks down, and the perfect amount of time and temperature.
So even if you're composting in Death Valley at the record temperature, you're still not hot enough. Industrial composting conditions are virtually impossible to attain in any landfill.
Just because it works in a lab doesn't mean it's going to work in real life. And so the best thing to do is to keep that compostable plastic out of the green bin.
Metro Vancouver says if you want to keep food scraps clean, use paper bags, freeze them, or dump them loose into the green bin. But keep all plastics, even compostable ones, out. Brayden, Goodman, BCIT News.
Concerns are growing over the possible impact of a construction site near a pristine creek in East Vancouver. But as Thomas Adams reports, city officials insist new developments in the area will actually help protect Still Creek.
Between Rupert and Renfrew, low-rise housing units are set to begin development, with potential impact on Still Creek.
It is certainly a big change for the neighborhood. It'll be a big influx of people, which, more people to love the creek, which is a good thing.
Connolly Sterling has been a member of the Still Creek Streamkeeper Society for 2 years, protecting the creek and the animals that call it home.
So there's lots of potential for good things to be done. I hope it's done well and with the right intention.
The creek was a factor during the approval process, with the city looking to protect it during construction.
Earlier this morning, construction runoff was found in Still Creek. This is the first thing that the City of Vancouver and the Streamkeeper Society is looking to prevent.
The city's plan to protect the creek is to limit underground parking. This will prevent groundwater from seeping into the creek at a rapid rate.
The idea isn't completely new. The way that Vancouver is implementing it, I think, is different than other places, but there's been a trend over the last few decades to try to protect creeks from development impacts.
Both Sterling and the City of Vancouver hope the creek can play a part in the lives of the area's new residents.
People need nature, and when you're living in a tall building, however many stories up, it can feel really isolating from nature. And so I think it is excellent to highlight the space in the area, but also really important to do it appropriately and have ways to, control what's going into the creek.
The city says the project will include better access to the Millennium Line and more local jobs. Thomas Adams, BCIT News.
Our reporter Thomas Adams joins us now. Thomas, are groundwater protection areas common in Vancouver?
Thank you, Eden. I'm here at Guichon Creek on BCIT's Burnaby campus that feeds into Still Creek. The City of Vancouver says this is the first groundwater protection area that they are implementing for new developments. The city says that the protection of creeks and other natural sites will continue to be a priority for them in the future. Back to you.
Coming up on BCIT Magazine, Small But Mighty, the dedicated crew behind Vancouver's fireboat fleet.
And an exotic animal rescue faces closure for the third time in 5 years. For the third time in 5 years, a Langley organization that rescues exotic animals is facing closure. As Arden McLeod reports, Wild Education cares for animals that can't survive in the wild.
Meet Squirt, a pig-nosed turtle surrendered to Wild Education over 2 years ago. And even with Wild Education facing imminent closure, 5 more animals will be taken in this week.
Right now, there's probably around 250 animals in our care right now. So the animals coming this week, they are surrenders. So one is somebody who's moving. I think they're moving overseas. They have 2 ball pythons.
The rescue takes in about 150 reptiles like Squirt per year. As prices for reptiles go down, Hopcraft says more people are buying them, but the novelty tends to wear off.
That's what happens when you get an animal as a baby that lives 20 years, and especially when you buy it for a kid, the interest isn't there for that 20 years. So that's why we get a lot of animals in.
The team at Wild Education puts animals up for adoption, but applicants must pass a thorough vetting process. Care for captive reptiles is so specialized, it's called husbandry.
And eventually, as I told you, 90% of them will get sick because the husbandry is not appropriate. And I went to pet stores and discussed with them. They don't have a clue, zero knowledge on reptiles.
Wild Education also offers mobile live demonstrations to teach young people about exotic animals.
If you bring to the vet a 2 inches reptile, will cost you like bringing a Doberman.
When exotic animals no longer get the care they need, they are often surrendered to rescues. Wild Education's lease is up, and they cannot afford the new rate.
We wanted to find somewhere that would do a 4, 5, 6 year lease. Nobody will do it because after that 2 years, if you want to renew the lease, they just jack your rent up or kick you out.
Hopcraft will need to find a new home for rescues like Gary here by the end of the month. Without it, their future is uncertain. Arden, McLeod, BCIT News.
TransLink says the West Ham Island Bridge will be closed for several weeks after conducting underwater inspections and detailed surveys. The bridge closed on January 20th after a marine vessel collided with the structure.
Analog may be making its way back to the forefront. Reporter Caroline Doyle investigates why some people are moving away from a digitally saturated world.
There's something in the coil.
Something in there. It's like there's something in the gas.
Some are calling it the analog renaissance. Clint Moreau's owner of Space Lab, a vintage and restoration shop in Vancouver, says people are moving towards what is tangible and real.
I'm definitely seeing trends regarding people wanting more sincerity and more tactile interaction.
Moreau says the younger generation is leaning in as they inherit family belongings.
The younger generation we're dealing with is definitely exploring what their grandparents were into.
Adam Fishman, a manufacturing engineer, often stops by to drop off things for Moreau's. When at the shop, he lends his audio repair expertise. Despite his love of analog, Fishman believes digital music is better, but enjoyment is a matter of preference.
Depending on your rig, sometimes a record will sound better, right? Doesn't mean it measures better, but it sounds more pleasing to you, right? So there is no better. It's what you like, right? I like this kind of wine, that guy likes that kind of wine.
What's that? Yeah, what do we do with that one?
Moreau says it's getting harder to restore old analog equipment, often borrowing from other systems to fix more salvageable ones.
No matter how good analog stuff is, the lifespan will eventually, trend to zero because you can't fix it anymore, which is sad.
He says analog materials are known for their resilience and straightforward repairs. And for now, it won't be going away. Caroline Doyle, BCIT News.
The waters around Vancouver have been protected from fire for almost 100 years by a small vessel with dedicated crews. Reporter Riley Cunningham has more on the ship patrolling our shores.
That's the part of the water under the bridge.
The Vancouver Fire Department has been operating 2 fireboats since 1928. Despite their storied history, many aren't aware of their presence on Vancouver's coastlines and the unique purposes they serve in the water.
I've been on the Marine Emergency Response Team for 4 years now, and I've been with Vancouver Fire Department for 13 years.
Sarah Mickelson says the crew and views make the 24-hour call shifts worth it. If she could change anything, it would be the public's awareness of what the fireboat does and the communities it serves.
The best thing about being on the fireboat team is probably with the crews, being out on the water every opportunity that we have, and the continued training that we get to do out here.
The fireboat itself packs an impressive punch.
All right, so as you can see here, we're running 2 Cat engines. They're 6 cylinders each. They run 650 horsepower each.
The boat has 4 hatches to pump water through in order to fight fires and can sustain over 7,000 gallons per minute, pulling seawater from underneath the vessel. The fireboat does more than just assist the city from the water. They're an integral part of first response operations across the greater Vancouver region.
We have 2 spots that we can easily get to people if they call, and that we work in conjunction with VPD, with Coast Guard, and we practice a lot with land crews, other fire departments, so that if they ever call for mutual aid, we're able to work with them harmoniously.
The vessel, currently operated by the Vancouver Fire Department, was purchased by the city in 2016 and has been keeping the shores safe ever since. Riley Cunningham, BCIT News.
From fire on the seas to what's hot on the screen, our entertainment reporter Caroline Doyle fills you in on all the Canadian Oscar buzz you've been wanting to know.
Oscar nominations sprinkle across the vast Canadian landscape. Canadians are paving the way behind the scenes and center stage in film and television. But this year is an especially good year for animation and visual effects. Here are some of the Canadian nominees we will be watching at the 98th Academy Awards. Up for Best Animated Short Film is The Girl Who Cried Pearls from Montreal-based creators Chris Lavis and Maciej Czerwowski. This stop-motion animation is set in Montreal in the early 20th century. A poor boy falls in love with a girl whose sorrow turns into pearls. The boy must choose between love and fortune. Let's take a look.
In the apartment across from me lived a family. That night, everything changed.
This will be the second time the Montreal duo is up for an Oscar, receiving a nomination in 2007 for their short film Madame Tootly Pootly in collaboration with the National Film Board of Canada. A movie that smashed the box office and pulled our heartstrings is animated musical film K-Pop Demon Hunters. Toronto directors Maggie Kang and Domi Shi both scored nominations for Best Animated Feature Film. K-Pop Demon Hunters was animated primarily in Vancouver by Sony Pictures Imageworks with help from additional artists in Montreal and in Los Angeles.
Everything is at stake.
But it's not done. K-Pop Demon Hunters is also nominated for Best Original Song for Golden, which went up to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It still remains Netflix's most watched animated film. And a Vancouver visual effects studio is also seeing the golden glow of the Oscars. Industrial Light and Magic Vancouver has contributed to 3 of 5 films nominated for the Best Visual Effects category. The films are Avatar: Fire and Ash, Jurassic World: Rebirth, and Sinners. And these are only some of the nominees that include Canadian talent. The 98th Academy Awards take place March 15th at the Dolby Theater in Los Angeles, California. I'm Caroline Doyle.
Coming up, AI on the job site, how it impacts those working in trades.
And numbing prices, the cost of youth hockey and how it's keeping kids off the ice.
Going live in 3, 2, 1. BCIT, television and video production. You've got potential.
Not all art hangs on walls. Some of it is built for the floor. In their interview with a local business owner, Brayden Goodman, Cohan Sassaman, and Joe McCue step into the world of luxury rugs.
Hello, and welcome in to BCIT News. My name is Brayden Goodman, and I'm here with Sassan Solari. What does Solari, what are you guys doing?
We deal with roughly 10 or 12 different lines from all over the world, some from Europe, some from North America, and many of them are not just carpet producers, but they're actually artists.
How does a custom carpet change the way somebody might experience a space?
People, especially in condos, for example, where there's walls of windows, they have no room for art, then they put the art on the floor.
So this piece would be closer to your 6 month.
Yeah, 6 months, 6 to 8 months in some cases. Yeah. Each one of these dots is one individual knot. Need weavers that have been weaving 15, 20 years in order to be able to even start making some of these.
How expensive can these pieces get?
Yeah, so they can get anywhere, it depends on size. So these are all, sold essentially by the square foot. So the bigger you get, the more expensive it gets. So, for a large, sometimes we do big 12 by 15 large size or even bigger, they can get into the $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 range.
Beautiful, wow. How do sustainability and sourcing your materials factor into, what kind of materials you're using?
Yeah, I think wool as a product is super sustainable because it's shorn from the sheep. It's a renewable resource. It grows back and then it gets shorn again next year, basically. One thing that's really important for us and the people we work with on the production side is that we want them to have sustainability also in their minds. So these are all hand woven and all with natural dyes. So they'll use things like walnut husks or pomegranate seeds, the turmeric powder, just to get these natural colors to dye the wools in. All by nomadic weavers essentially that are working in their own as a cottage industry.
Is there a project that you can think of that you're most proud of? Any particular piece that maybe stands out in your mind?
There's so many of those, many of our clients are quite private, so we tend not to publicize many of the really nice ones.
In Vancouver, Brayden Goodman, BCIT News.
Is learning a trade the best way to beat a possible AI unemployment crisis? My co-anchor Eden Chipperfield has more on the conversations happening in the construction and engineering industries.
Many of the companies here today have seen significant change within engineering and construction industries since the introduction of AI.
It's going to change the nature of work, but with humans, we're so innovative, right? And even within trades, I think there's some aspects that are still going to stay the same.
Last year, BC announced a $241 million investment to expand training in the trade sector. But with the prominence of AI, many are curious how it will affect the trades market.
There's going to be a lot of aspects of the trades that, are going to be able to be handled by AI, but that just allows us to focus on, the other parts that it's not quite as able to handle, whether it's the actual physical, trades, hands-on piece of it, or again, even some of the planning and construction part of it and design that we'll still be able to handle.
BCIT grads who now work in these industries have noticed that since graduating, AI has significantly changed their workdays.
It's a very powerful tool that as project managers or site coordinators, you should try and use, and you should try and get ahead of it and have it do work for you in a more streamlined fashion.
However, Thodos is not concerned about the presence of AI within his work or trades as an industry.
I don't think there's going to be a negative effect to AI in trades or construction in the form of taking people's jobs. Obviously in AI, we're a long ways away from AI being able to do a trades job and being able to coordinate the way human to humans can.
With more than 50 companies in attendance here, students and employees alike are ready to construct the future. Eden Chipperfield, BCIT News.
Hockey is one of Canada's national sports, but rising costs are driving kids away from the ice. My co-anchor Hayden Stewart has more on the impact to the sport.
Junior A hockey player and Langley Trappers captain, Nabil Molodina, says he and his parents had to work hard so he could play.
My mom and dad are both immigrants, so they've had to work really, really hard for me to be able to play hockey, so I'm really grateful. And then I had to get a job when I was like 11 or 12 so that I could start paying for everything. And then now I just pay for it by myself.
According to Hockey Canada, in 2010, more than 500,000 kids played hockey in this country. In 2022, that number dropped to under 345,000, a 35% decrease. Foundations like KidSport and Jumpstart raise money to help families afford equipment and registration fees. But Molodina's family found another way to cut down costs.
Growing up, we didn't have a bunch of money, so my parents, we didn't really replace the gear too much, but skates maybe every couple of years, and there's ways to get around that and going to secondhand stores, which is what I did.
Trappers head coach Brad Backen says high demand for ice time and the cost of equipment are some of the reasons behind registration fees rising.
The amount of ice sheets that are in this area within the city of Langley, right now I think there's 7. Willoughby has 3 sheets coming on. It's going to bring Langley to 10. But it's not like soccer, where you can just go to any field, or baseball, you go to any field with a ball and start practicing.
Backen says foundations like KidSport are very important to keeping the players on the ice. Hayden, Stewart, BCIT News. Want to know what's coming up in your neighborhood? Gabe, Liessi, and Nate Elmes show us what's happening on the community calendar.
Oh, hey. I didn't see you there. I'm your boyfriend, Gabe. Did you know that Valentine's Day is coming up? Of course you did. And so did I, because great minds think alike. Let's talk about where I want to take you. Dine Out Vancouver is on now until February the 8th. The festival highlights great restaurants around the city with incredible cuisines and low prices. Take in a great meal as you also take in that special someone across the table from you. Do you like it fast? Looking for someone hot with whom to spend these cold winter months? City Swoon has you covered with several speed dating events over the next couple weeks. From Kitsilano to Gastown, all ages are welcome. If you're lonely and single, which you probably are, go grab yourself a sweetie. And lastly,
and if you hate all that ooey-gooey stuff like me, sports are what's up.
Canucks, Canucks, Canucks!
Canucks are playing this week, still no captain. They play the Leafs this Saturday, January 31st at 4:30 p.m. Vegas Golden Knights, February 4th at 6:30 p.m. Are you boring and you only watch sports during the Olympics? Well, good news for you. We have hometown heroes competing at Milano Cortina this Winter Olympics for you to root for. Macklin Celebrini, Sam Reinhart playing for Team Canada Hockey. Bang, bang. Benita Pfeiffer and Jasper Fleming are competing in biathlon. Jane Chanel, skeleton. Do you hate hockey? Do you hate the Olympics? Well, good news for you. Yeah. Well, Seattle Seahawks are playing in Super Bowl 60. They play the New England Patriots February 8th, 3:30 p.m. at Santa Clara at the Levi's Stadium.
Later.
Gabe, will I have to wait until next season to see you again?
Nate, so long as you're the Hollander to my Rosanov, I'll take you out to the cabin any day of the week.
If you have any questions regarding the show, you can contact us at bcitnews.com. Thanks so much for tuning into BCIT Magazine. Once again, I'm Eden Chipperfield.
And I'm Hayden Stewart. Take care.